How good of you to join us.
Hey, what's up everybody? Southpaw Chris here. Today's video is going to be on my Ikea Hobo stove that I made. And before I get into the stove, I just want to talk about ingenuity in general and why people do things and create things that they do. I think of one of the best lines in a movie uttered by Marty McFly to Dr. Brown, and that was, "You built a time machine out of a DeLorean?" Hell yeah, he did. Why? Because he could. Because it was cool. He could have made a time machine out of a Pinto if he wanted, but he chose a DeLorean. And that's kind of along the same lines as to what we have here. This was a DIY project that I did about a year ago, and I pretty much got ideas from other YouTube videos on Ikea Hobo stoves. I was looking for alternatives as far as camping stoves that used more natural resources as opposed to having to carry a bunch of fuel with you into the woods, you know, to start your fire or to cook your food. So I looked into wood gas stoves, which I did make a few of those myself, which I will show in later videos, but I'm just going to start here with the Ikea stove because I feel like the technology involved in it is a lot more simple as opposed to a wood gas stove. Or a biomass stove, I should say, because they can burn a lot more than just wood. But anyway, I digress before I make a mess. So here we have the Ikea Hobo stove. Of course, when you first purchase the crucial piece of this, it does not look like this. So I'm just going to do a quick strip down and show you guys more of the basic structure of this stove. Okay, so here we have the basic unit of the Ikea stove. Ikea sells this part here, and what it actually is it's a utensil drying rack. Basically, you put your utensils in it when you after you dishwash them, and you set them in there to dry. But what makes this so great for a stove use are all of the holes that are in it, which basically lets induction as far as air into the stove and helps the flames breathe, making it a lot more efficient, and it burns a lot cleaner because of all the intake holes on the side. Now the basic unit is stainless steel. It's a thinner gauge stainless steel, but nonetheless it is still stainless steel. All of the hardware that is on it, with an exception of the actual door and the hinges, I use stainless steel hardware because I knew that using stainless steel would be a lot more durable and be able to withstand the temperatures of heat that are created. So like the handles here, those are stainless steel eyelets, and take the Trangia stove out of here. Another great item. Alcohol goes in and actually stores the alcohol on the side too. So you basically fill this with alcohol and light it with a flame, and there you have a little stove. But that's one option you can use in this stove. Okay, so let's take a closer look. Now, as far as stoves go, this is also it kind of crosses the line between lightweight and heavy depending on who you are and what your weight tolerances are as far as gear. But I usually never have a problem with weight. I usually pack heavy if I'm going hiking or camping, just because I like to endure the extra weight. For one, because it trains you and helps you be able to carry weight like that. And, you know, some of your gear is not always lightweight. Okay, so on the bottom, I use stainless steel bolts with a washer. I put 4 of those, and those actually just fit right into the holes that are already in the utensil holder. It took me quite a while at Home Depot and Lowe's to find all the bolts to actually fit everything that I wanted to do with the design. People pretty much thought I was crazy because I would just be sitting Indian style on the floor of Home Depot with all these nuts and bolts surrounding me trying to find ones that fit. But nonetheless, they were just jealous. So yeah, that's stainless steel. The feet are stainless steel, and the 2 bolts that I have on the inside, which actually hold the Trangia burner, if you choose to, they actually have bolts on the back, and all the bolts are hand tightened, so I can pretty much change everything around that I want. Just unscrew these bolts, and just pull these rods out. And now these rods can also be adjusted from this bottom hole here to this top hole, so it kind of gives you some flexibility as far as how high you want your flame to be. Now the door, I used a somewhat thick gauge sheet metal, and basically just hammered it and pounded it and formed it with my hand around that door after I cut it out with a pair of tin snips, which wasn't that easy. Nonetheless, just got to be patient. And then again, I use stainless steel screws on the hinge. You can see it already has developed a nice patina all over it. It's almost like a purplish brown hue, and that's just from many uses. I have tested this thoroughly, and it is excellent. It exceeded my expectation of the capabilities of this stove. I think the door mod that I did on it helps a lot too, because once you have the fire inside, it basically encloses all the heat and flames more inside of it, and also away from your hands if you go to, put more fuel into it, such as sticks or pine cones. Just open the door, drop stuff in, close it. And after every use, I usually coat the entire thing with mineral oil just to help with rust, because it does tend to rust a little bit. But the oil will kind of help season it and give it some protection against water and rust. So this was a fun project. I actually learned a lot by doing it. Again, it took me a little while to come up with how I wanted to do it, but just you put your mind to it, I guess you can pretty much figure out ways around anything almost. Now this top piece here is just a simple drain cover from Home Depot. Oh, and I basically bought all the pieces for this at a big box store, so none of the pieces on it are extremely hard to find. So this piece goes on top, and then on top of that goes your pot. And typically how I would pretty much start a fire in this, I guess there's several ways you can do it, but one of my favorite ways to do is to just use fat wood. My trusty Open L, which I will be doing a review on the Open L later down the road. I do see this a little popular right now on YouTube, but nonetheless I've had this for quite a while and have put it through its paces. Now I primarily use this particular Open L as a fire striker, so that when I use my ferro rod to start the fire, you know, because of that 90-degree spine, use that to strike the ferro rod. I actually made this fire steel out of an old deer leg bone that I found in the woods, and I just cut it down, drilled it out a bit, and then used Gorilla Glue as an epoxy to kind of mend it to the ferro rod. Now, this is a 1/2-inch size ferro rod, so it's a good size, so it should last a good while. I use an espresso wood stain to kind of give the bone that kind of brownish color around certain spots. I did, of course, bleach the bone before I did all that, tried to clean it up a little bit. Now there was a fracture alongside the bone. I guess this deer was hit by a car and just kind of died in the woods pretty much where I found it. Pretty much looked like wildlife had scattered most of the bones, but this is one of the pieces that I did find nearby. Just added a lanyard here, and I just wet molded this to kind of give it that little twist. So yeah, fun project. Pretty much anybody could do this. Mine is a little unique as far as design. I haven't really seen anyone else put a swinging door on theirs. But you know, so yeah, you have the option of burning wood in this, and you can also use the trusty Trangia stove, all in brass. One of my favorite gear items. So that just goes right inside. This goes on top. You know, you light the Trangia stove from in here, and then once it's at its full bloom, flames usually come about right up to the top of here. Just close that door. Put your pot on top. Boil your water, cook your food, and again, because of the hole system, it generates almost little to no smoke. It's pretty amazing. I was really surprised at how efficient this little guy burns, and the temperatures that are reached while doing so. It's pretty neat. So yeah, guys, this is my Ikea Hobo stove. Again, stay tuned. I have some more videos coming up, more knife reviews, more gear reviews, and pretty much whatever else I feel like reviewing. So yeah, peace out.